Hello there, Star Wars toy fans. This is Jim, and thank you again for stopping by my YouTube channel. Today's video is about creating an R2-D2 that is compatible with the 1979 Kenner Droid Factory. And that is using the vintage Kenner R2-D2 to do that. Now, some of you purists out there may be aghast at what I'm about to describe, and that is having an R2 and having the limbs be able to pull off and the head be able to pull off. So you have a droid that's totally disassembled and can be put back together again. And I just need to let you know that as a toy collector and a owner of an antique car, I'm really a purist at heart. If you see some of my earlier videos with my Model T driving around, if I grew up in the antique car club, and really the philosophy of those collectors is that you want to keep it as original as possible. However, if the car if the majority of it is incomplete when you get it, then you really have some options, and that is you could hot rod it if you want, or you could try to bring it back to the originality if parts are available. And so it's really fair game. But it's sacrilege to take a complete car and hot rod it. You just don't do that. And I know that there are purists in the toy community that are exactly the same way, and I feel the same way about the toys too. That if they're worn but they're complete and they're still working, then leave them be. However, if they are damaged, try to repair them. But if it's really not worth the expense, then what are the alternatives to restoration? And so in this case, what I'm looking at is finding an alternative to the expensive R2-D2. So the background of all this is I bought my son, who is 5 now, a 1979 Droid Factory that was incomplete as a future Christmas or birthday gift, something that when he gets a little older he'll be more responsible with. Now, for those of you that know of these, you know, this R2-D2 is my original with my Droid Factory as a child, and these are expensive. In fact, this little item right here, complete in its entirety, can run as high as, I've seen it on eBay as high as $127. Outrageous. No way would I pay that much money for a child to destroy. Accidentally, of course, but they're kind of hard on things because they just don't know how to take care of them, as I was. I mean, you look at my R2 and the sticker is totally worn. I mean, faded in places. I mean, let's look at the back. It got a lot of use. The dome here, been totally repainted. Now, I didn't do this as an adult. I did this as a kid. I was a model builder since I was 5 years old. I had model paints on hand, metallic blue and silver, and so I just brush painted all that on, probably when I was about 11 or 12, I would guess. And even the legs are not original. And no, I did not buy these as an adult. You can see there's the red paint on the feet. What does that mean? Well, that's how I differentiated all my toys from my brothers. I had red on all my figures, my ships, on the bottom of the play sets. So these legs are actually a second set. So the first set, the pegs broke on them. And so Kenner had this deal back then that's called We Really Do Care. They had this little sheet of paper that came with all their toys, and basically they would replace the broken part free of charge if you mail it into them. And so these were the replacement legs that came along with a duplicate set of these and other appendages, you know, that were pretty common to the Droid Factory. So I didn't want to pay upwards to $100 for an R2 unit. So I began looking at an alternative solution. And these figures are a fifth the cost. I mean, you can get a vintage R2-D2 complete that this one kind of works. You can see it clicks one way and only part one way, so it's broken. And this is one that I picked up off of eBay. So the background of this, how I kind of came across this idea, was for those of you that follow my videos, I created a custom Porkins Red 6 X-Wing. And again, that was another destroyed toy that I brought back to life. I needed an R5 unit, and I thought, well, probably the best bet is to use a vintage R5 and dome and see if I could make it work. Well, I had purchased my son last year an R5 unit that had a broken clicker. You can see where I used some glue and some styrene plastic and just kind of melted that into place, glued it into place. And it kind of clicked, but not real well. And so I thought, well, what if I take my son's broken R5, replace his with another one, which is what I did. And I took the dome, and if you watch my video, you can see the R5 on the X-Wing. So I had this body left over in the legs. And so what I did was I created the proper pegs for these legs. Here's the R5 leg, and created the peg and drilled out a little bit more on the inside, and voila, we now have we now have a droid that can be totally reassembled. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is kind of show you the process of, if you want to do this for yourself, how to go about doing that. Okay. So first thing to do is to take the R2 unit apart. Now, it's very simple. There are about 6 parts associated with this. You have a Phillips screw there. So you unscrew that. It has a washer built into the screw. And pull the head off. You can see where the dome is. This is the clicker right here. And then you just pop the legs out like so. And now you have your R2 taken apart. Now I'm going to put this one back together as it's pretty complete here. And I'm going to use these legs. I happen to pick up 2 damaged R2s on eBay. This one here, you're going to notice that this is the sensor scope one. It was missing the sensor scope. And it also has a replacement sticker there on it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to pick up some 1/8 inch styrene rod. This is made by Evergreen Scale Models, number 214. You get 4 pieces in there. 1/8 inch comes pretty close to the original peg design. See there with the caliper, it's almost, it should be 0.125. This is 0.118. So it'll suffice. Fair enough. I mean, I can stick that in there and it fits just fine. Okay. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to have a X-Acto knife with a nice blade. And this is the legs are pretty soft plastic. So we're going to begin the destruction process. Get rid of both of those little pieces. And now we've got that done. Trim that down. Be careful not to cut yourself. Done that way too many times. And being that it's pretty soft plastic, you may want to, you probably don't want to use a file. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark a dot where the center of that is so I don't lose that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin vise and drill in the holes. I'm going to start small. I can't even tell you the size of bits. I just have multiple bits and multiple pin vices, as you can see here. Do not use a Dremel. You will wallow out the hole, and this in any plastic. Unless it's really thick, don't do that. That's will surely destroy it. In fact, that's kind of what I did on this R2. Where's the body? Here. And I knew better. I'll show you a quick fix just in case. And it wasn't something that I really... I tried using a pin vise and I wasn't able to get through the plastic at the right angle and in through the interior. So, simple process, you just start to drill your hole, okay, and go the next size bit. Now what I'm really trying not to do is go all the way through. So I'm just kind of stepping it up, drill bit sizes. I think now we're up to about a 1/16 of an inch. And we need to get up just under an 1/8 of an inch. Now we're starting to get some stuff out. Okay. Now you can also shine this up to the light, and if you're starting to see some translucency inside the hole, then that's a pretty good indication that you're getting close to going all the way through. Let's see. And I'm getting there. So I'm going to just primarily focus on one leg right now. So about that far in. That's probably all the further I'm going to want to go. Then we'll get up to the final stage here. And this is slightly under an 1/8 of an inch. You don't want an 1/8 of an inch because then it won't cinch in. And again, this is pretty soft plastic here. Okay. Just about there. You can see it takes long in the video. It seems like it's going forever, but it really doesn't take that much time in the grand scheme of things. Okay, we're just about there. So, okay, so both legs are now done, and you can put the pin vices aside. So if you haven't invested in some drill bits and pin vices, those are kind of nice to have. And of course, they have different size collets. In case you're wondering what a collet is, this is what this is, and it holds the drill bit in place. So you want to have different sizes, and again, that's an investment, but it's an investment that'll pay off if you do a lot of this hobby stuff. So I've got the hole in there, as crude as it is, and now what we're going to do is we're going to super glue that in. I could use styrene plastic cement, and this will cause that to adhere, but it won't be vice versa, because this is not the same type of plastic as styrene is. So what we're going to do is we're going to decide measurement-wise how long we want the pin to be. Now, if you take a look at Kenner, Kenner has their pin roughly, let's see, about 3/8 of an inch, just shy of that, so maybe 7/32. The pin length that I chose to have stick out from here measures 1/4 of an inch. So it could be just a little bit long. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this, let's say, it's better to err on the side of longer than shorter. So we're going to go 5/16 here. And all you need to do is just take your X-Acto knife, kind of roll this rod around, break it. And by the way, you can find the rod at Hobby Lobby. You can get these sanding sticks. These are just nail files that I picked up at either Target or over on the West Coast we have Fred Meyer. And again, I'm going to just do one more test fit. It's kind of snug, so I'm going to wallow this out just a bit more. It's snug, meaning it wasn't going in. And take the X-Acto here and kind of carve out any extra that I have. And the whole point of drilling that in is so that way your piece of plastic has a place to stay and it'll grip it in. I think that's going to be pretty good. So I think because I've got a little more torque on this one, think I'll just use the shaft. Use the rod, I mean. I'll just shove that whole thing down in. Then I'm going to use some accelerator. Again, both of these you can get at Hobby Lobby or any of your local craft stores. Now we're going to mark off, like I said, 1/4 of an inch. Sorry, you metric guys. I use metrics a lot, by the way. Okay, so now that I've got this raised, I'm going to need to have something to support it. Otherwise, I'll snap that off. And we'll use the magnifying glass lens. It's not a perfect system, but at least support it. Score that. Now, let's see. Let's grab a pair of pliers. I'm going to break that off right there. Boom. I have it. Now what I'm going to do is just file that down. And technically, the hole should be large enough, the perfect size, that it can just go right into the barrel. Now it happened here that I needed to go in further, and it was interfering with this center portion, well, with the body itself. So it was interfering. As I drilled the leg in, it was coming into this center part here. And that's why I used the Dremel, because it was having a hard time, my pen vise was having a hard time getting in. And the problem with the Dremel is that it'll end up wallowing out your hole and making it larger. So what I ended up doing is, it's a technique called plastic welding. And so I have here a wood burner. And I have here, oops, a broken piece of an X-wing. Same type of plastic. And so I cut off a piece of that. And then using the wood burner, I melt it and shove it into place. And then I can re-drill my hole again. Just file it down smooth and you can start over. Do that as many times as you need to. I did that a couple times on both sides. And then again, the stickers you can buy on eBay. This is a replacement one. It looks like I need to get a little more adhesive on it. But now, let's take a look and see how this works. And boom, legs in. So there you go. Here is a cheap fix for an R2-D2. And you can have one with your Droid Factory. Now, of course, the middle leg won't fit. This has a spline on the inside that catches this outside rim. And if you look in there, you can see the spline, which this, of course, does not have. And it butts up against, I remember trying to do this as a kid, it butts up against where the screw is. This has a spline on it, too, that goes into that center area. And so if I get rid of that center area, then this will not be a press fit. And so I kind of like that press fit issue on it. So hope you found this video helpful, informative, and press the like button if you enjoyed it, and feel free to leave some comments in the comment section.